Good morning, all of you.
Good morning.
So, our happiness doubles today. Today is a Sunday. Yes, that is joy for us. More than that, two more saints to the Catholic Church. So, our happiness doubles. In the early morning, like around 4 a.m. for us, we were sleeping, I think, at Vatican St. Peter's Square. Our Pope Leo canonized two more saints to the Catholic Church, and Saint Carlo Acutis, and second name is not that easy for me to read, like Saint Pier Giorgio Frassati, things correct. Two more saints, Italian men, young men who lived in 20th and 21st centuries. They are canonized today. So let's hope one day our name will be added to this sainthood. So when we come to the reflection for the gospel passages today, Jesus gives us three images in the gospel today. Three beautiful images: a tower, a battlefield, and a cross. And through these images, Jesus gives us lessons and teaches us how to be a true disciple of God. Father Damien is very familiar face to us, very familiar saint to us, who worked in the island of Molokai. The people who were suffering because of the contagious disease of leprosy, and a priest goes and serves there. What a very strong decision. What a courageous decision that he had taken in his life. And definitely they might have had so many discouragement, oppositions in his decisions, but he was very true and he remained faithful to his decisions and his mission. And he knows the consequences when he goes there. One day he will be affected and he will die. But he was ready to die because he loved God truly, and his mission and his passion and his decision, everything was genuine. So here in the gospel passage, Jesus gives us, to be a true disciple, we need to make a lifelong decisions. It is not a decision that we make out of our emotions or happiness, or rather it should be a lifelong decision. That is a real faithful disciple. So here Jesus speaks about a tower. If a person decides to build a tower, he should first sit down and plan carefully. That is the message he gives. A tower in those days was a symbol of strength, and it was a symbol of culture, a symbol of protection. And to build a tower, one has to plan carefully, measure correctly, and work hard together. A true disciple is like a wise builder. He plans carefully by grounding his life in prayer, scriptures, and the sacraments. And he lays a very strong foundation on Christ. And Jesus says in the Gospel of St. Matthew chapter 7, verses 24, 25, "Everyone who hears my words and acts on them is like a wise man who built his house on a rock." Even he is always ready to give everything to Christ. Secondly, Jesus speaks about a battlefield. The battlefield is amidst all of us. It is there within us. We always face that battlefield in our life. The image of the king preparing for a battle reminds us that discipleship is not lived in comfort, but it is in struggle. Jesus himself warns us that following him will involve conflict, not against the human enemies, but against sin, selfishness, and the powers of evil. St. Paul expresses this daily struggle when he admits, "The good I want to do, I fail to do, and the evil I do not want, I end up doing." This is the battlefield of the disciple's heart. Every day we are faced with choices to forgive or to hold grudge, or to speak truth or remain silent, or to choose God's will or to our own. Like the king who must wisely assess his strength before battle, a disciple must recognize his or her own weaknesses and dependence on God, and we are sure alone we cannot win. But with God's grace, the battle can be faced with courage. Prayer, the sacraments, and the support of the Christian community are our weapons. And thirdly, Jesus speaks about the cross. Jesus says that if we come to Him but do not hate our father, mother, spouse, children, siblings, even our own life, we cannot be His disciples. Now, this can sound shocking, but in biblical language, the word hate in the context does not mean anger or resentment. It means to love less. When Jesus says we must hate those closest to us, He is telling us, love me more, love me more. If Jesus becomes our first love, everything else falls into place. If you are a husband who loves Jesus above all, you will be a better husband. If you are a wife who places Jesus first, you will be a better wife and a mother. When Jesus is our priority, we grow in love, patience, and kindness. This love is not just a feeling, it means spending time with Him, seeking His guidance in our decisions. When Jesus is your first love, your life begins to change from the inside out. I remember the missionaries, those who came to India. When we go through the life history of some of the missionaries, those who came to India for evangelization, I came to know that they came to India, they evangelized the people, they gave the education, they worked in the health sectors and social services, and they uplifted our culture, and really they have done so much great works in our socio-cultural aspects of our life. But some of the things we noticed that they never went back their home. They came to India, they worked a long life until their death. They survived in India and they died themselves. What a great sacrifice they have done for God. So they built not just towers of stones, but in India they built the towers of faith. Their sacrifice still shines today as a light of Christ that we experience there. So dear friends in Jesus Christ, let us ask God for the grace to build our towers of faith with strong foundations, to fight our daily battles with courage, and to carry our cross with love. In this way, our lives too will become a shining light that leads to salvation. May Almighty God bless us.